Welcome in, everybody, to a post-National Championship Game edition of the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. I am obviously your host, Aaron Torres. And boy, oh boy, we got ourselves a National Championship final here from Houston. For everybody just joining us, I appreciate it. For people who are listening on Tuesday on podcast, we are live on YouTube following the National Championship game. And we got ourselves a national champion, obviously, right? So Michigan beats Washington. Final score 34-13. Hail to the victors. Michigan is the national champion. Obviously, we're going to break it all down, take some of your comments and everything, etc. here in just one moment. Before we get started, if you're not subscribed to the podcast, make sure to do so on Apple and Spotify. Obviously, if you are watching on YouTube, click that little subscribe button, click that like button. Really does help the channel grow, the audience grow. We're closing in on 32,000 subscribers. Appreciate your support. All right, let's dive in here. It is Monday night. Again, many of you will be listening on Tuesday, and Michigan is your 2024 national champion, I guess. 2023 season, 2024 national championship. As I said, final score 34-13. And, I really want to dive in and I really want to be blunt. I don't really know how to describe this game. Strange game. It actually was a lot like the Rose Bowl, right? Michigan dominates early, Washington kind of in the middle. You feel like they're there, and then Michigan pulls away late. When I think about this game, it was funny really how the ebbs and flows of the game. Early on, Michigan in complete control, line of scrimmage, they're absolutely dominating. Donovan Edwards, who I thought was a great story, was phenomenal last year, struggled this year, has 2 touchdowns in the first quarter of the national championship game. And you think the game's like completely out of control, right? It was kind of wild to watch it, to see on social media. I saw the typical Washington would have finished 9th in the SEC. They weren't better than Ole Miss. Why are they even in this game? And then bluntly, the game just got really, really weird, right? Washington kind of sort of makes their move, but not really. Michigan gets cute. They try to pass the ball too much. They're up 17-3. That fourth down pass by J.J. McCarthy is incomplete. And then Washington gets the ball back late in the second quarter. They drive the length of the field. They keep trying to establish run. It was just a strange game. Michigan trying too hard to establish the pass. Washington trying too hard to establish the run. And then the third quarter was much the same. Michael Penix, obviously, first play of the third quarter, he throws an interception. You sit there and say, wait a second now. Okay, Michigan's going to pull away. They have to settle for a field goal. And then it's just this weird back and forth thing for the rest of the game. In terms of how this thing went down and how it ended, what stands out to me, listen, I know it's going to be unpopular to say. I know people aren't going to like it. But a couple things. One, first of all, I don't think either team played their best game. We'll discuss that momentarily. But two, this is kind of what Michigan did all season long. Michigan was a great fourth quarter team all season long. First of all, they dominated most of their games early on, but in the big games, what did they do? Penn State completely controlled the clock in the fourth quarter. Ohio State, that big series, Ohio State cuts it to, what is it, about a 6-point game? Or I think it was a 3-point game, excuse me. Michigan goes on a 13-play, 7-minute drive, takes all this time off the clock. Ohio State gets the ball back with less than a minute to go. And it was the same against Alabama. Alabama's in control. The Jalen Milroe fumble, you think that's going to change the game. It doesn't. Michigan gets the ball back. They convert a fourth down. They score the touchdown. They win in overtime. And it was the same in this game. Michigan, late in the game, made all the plays that they need to, obviously score the late touchdown to seal the victory. And Michigan wins 33-13. In the bigger picture, a couple thoughts here. One, first of all, let me say this, and this is going to be controversial, and people are going to get mad, and people aren't going to like it. I'm going to say it anyway. Michigan is very much a deserving national champion. Please do not tell me that Michigan is not your deserving national champion, okay? I know a lot of people are frustrated. As a matter of fact, I'll take this step further. Not only is Michigan your deserving national champion, I truly believe they were the best team all year. A lot of people aren't going to like that, and what about Georgia? What about this? What about that? Here is the narrative. Here is the overarching story of Michigan's season. First 3 games they play without Harbaugh, destroy everybody. They start, 6-0, 7-0. They're destroying everybody. They're killing everybody. Then the Connor Stallion stuff happens. Then we convinced ourselves, oh my goodness, they're only good because they were cheating. They stink. They're overrated. Harbaugh, he's a cheater. He's this, he's that. Then what ends up happening? Harbaugh gets suspended the day of the Penn State game. They end up struggling against Penn State. They end up struggling against Ohio State. I don't think they were struggling. I think they were a team without their head coach late in the season against Penn State on the road, against Ohio State at home. And like, that's what happens when teams don't have their head coach late in the season. Listen, I get why people would say that like it's somehow tainted or it's somehow this or it's somehow that. The bottom line is this. Here is what Michigan did in the post Connor Stallions time frame of the season. They beat Penn State on the road in a game, by the way, where, remember, they showed up to Happy Valley not knowing who was going to be their head coach if Jim Harbaugh was suspended. He gets suspended. What ends up happening from there? They go out and find a way to win that game. Ohio State. Remember, Sharon Moore is both the play caller and the head coach. He's more aggressive than Ryan Day. He's the one that gets the job done. They find a way to get the win. Then they beat Iowa. Listen, make fun of Iowa all you want. That was a top 5 defense in college football all year. Beat Iowa, beat Alabama with Jim Harbaugh, and they beat Washington on Monday night, and they were clearly the best team. And so Michigan, to me, was the best team all season long. They were the deserving national champion. And I just think that this is a, listen, for their fans, it's a crowning achievement. For everybody else, they're going to say, oh, they this, they that. They were the best team all year. You beat Penn State. You beat Ohio State without Jim Harbaugh. You beat the SEC champ with Jim Harbaugh. You beat Washington, which was 14-0 coming into this game. You are a deserving national champion. By the way, SEC fans, I saw a lot of this. Oh, Georgia should have been here. Listen, if you're watching that game and your argument is Georgia deserved to be in this game, just log off of social media. You don't need to put out every single take that you have. And I say that as a guy that puts out way too many bad takes, okay? Listen, Georgia lost to Alabama. Alabama was your SEC champ. Alabama goes to the playoff and loses to Michigan. It is okay that there was not an SEC team in this championship game. Michigan was deserving. Washington was deserving. Washington quickly. Listen, I don't think there's anything else to say other than that they did not play their best game, and they were still in it until the final few minutes. A couple things stand out. One, Michael Penix, listen, I was on Fox Sports Radio late on whatever it was, Monday night, New Year's Day, when they beat Texas, and we were getting calls and we were getting tweets. Michael Penix should go number 1. Caleb Williams, he's better. Listen, very good college player, but as you saw, when you could get him off his rhythm, when you could get him off his timing, there were moments when he struggled. Overthrew a couple passes. There was that 4th down play in the second quarter, I believe it was, when he just overthrew the wide receiver. Play late that he had an opportunity, did not take advantage of it. And I think that's the thing that stands out to me. Michigan is a deserving champion, but I don't think there's any way that you can sit there and say that Washington feels like they played anything close to their best game. Finished with 300 yards of total offense, 46 yards rushing. I don't know if a healthy Dylan Johnson would have made a difference at all. Like, it's easy to sit there and say now, but they struggled to run the ball against Texas, and they were able to kind of get the ball out in the passing game on short passes. And so, listen, they struggled to run the ball. Michael Penix, 27 of 51, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. It just wasn't his best night. And of course, the penalties, 5 penalties for 30 yards. So Michigan, deserving national champion. I think they were the best team all year. And of course, on top of that, Washington, listen, they had a great season, incredible year. Listen, as long as Kalen DeBoer is there, like, that team is going to be competing in the Big Ten. He's such a good coach, so smart, knows how to use his personnel, all that good stuff. And, it just wasn't their night. We knew it could be a struggle. We saw the money coming in from Vegas on Michigan all week long. And so you knew it was going to be. And the other thing, too, with Washington, they just won so many close games this year. They were deserving to be here, but you kind of felt like at some time that was going to run out. Even the Texas game comes down to the final play. They aren't able to get on top.